Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Edina. I'm Sam Thompson and I'm proud to be your 66th president. Our meeting is brought to you both live and on Zoom, and today we had 31 people pre-register for the live meeting and 27 for the Zoom. We are living in historic times, not only navigating through a global pandemic, but we are also living through a monumental period in the fight for civil rights, prompted largely by the killing of George Floyd. Rotary International has no tolerance for racism, and our club plans to take action. Respect, celebrating diversity, demanding ethical leadership, and working tirelessly to advance peace are central tenets of our work. Rotary knows there are no easy fixes, and that challenging conversations and work lie before us all. We will do our part to listen, learn, and take action to ensure that we continue to contribute to making positive change. So what is our club doing to make that positive change? Number one, we will listen and engage in challenging conversations. On August 11th, we have a consultant on diversity and inclusion strategy coming to talk to our leadership team of both our club and foundation boards via Zoom. Then on August 18th, we're going to take that conversation to our leadership series that we do every month. And Rob Breeding is going to come up here in a little bit and tell us more about that. That session is going to be called Let's Talk About Race and Racism. Number two, we're forming a race and equity committee led by member Sylvester Thomas. The committee will lead a focus group discussion with our club and interface with our grants committee, our speakers committee, and our membership committee. We can always improve our diversity, and we will work to become more inclusive. In June, we joined together with other district Rotary clubs and established the George Floyd Rotary Scholarship. The scholarship supports an African American student attending the University of Minnesota for the next 4 years, and our club's contribution was $2,500. Rotary's strength has long been its commitment to bring people together. We will tap into that strength now as we stand with those who are fighting for peace and justice. And I'd like to thank Josh Sprague for taking the lead on our initiative. Next, I'd like to talk about our gala theme. And it's around the world, and it's for September 26th and October 3rd. And as you know, we have smaller gatherings, so we need hosts. And so, with a little help from the B-52s, I'd like to share with you in this next month a little bit about our hosts. We're going to intro some of our hosts. And I also want to thank Dr. Dash for being our presenting sponsor for our gala this year. So here, I would like to share with you our first 3 hosts that we'd like to show you. Okay, so the party should be a lot of fun, and we need 4 more hosts. We have 16, so if you're interested, you can see Byun. He's in the room here today, or Catherine Gump. I want to thank Chris for putting the video together. That was great. Okay, member updates. We have a couple member updates. Ann Platt recently won the Best of Edina 2020 award that was given out by the Edina magazine for Best Doggy Daycare Kennel. Her company is, yay Ann. Her company is Pets Are In, and Ann had a quote. She said, "I'm honored and humbled to have Pets Are In be selected for this recognition. A+ customer service results in happy and satisfied pet parents who know that we care as much about their pets as they do. Congratulations, Ann." And Skip Thomas, is Skip in the room? Yeah, there he is. Skip's in the back, all right. Skip just won the Mayor's 2020 Senior Accommodation Award. And I've heard that you were surprised to get this, Skip. They snuck up on you when you're in a tent. And there were many reasons the mayor said that why Skip won this award. He volunteered as a youth coach for 2 decades. He worked for Meals on Wheels for 25 years. He's been a chamber ambassador. In 2008, Skip was the Edina Business Person of the Year. He's involved in the Historical Society. He ushers with his church. And he even, and this got him the reward, he even has had 26 years of perfect attendance with our club. And Skip had a quote. He said, "I was very humbled to receive this award. It is truly an honor to receive this." So congratulations, Skip. Okay, and we have one birthday. It looks like Bill Carter is celebrating a birthday this next week. So happy birthday, Bill. And Rotary anniversaries. Looks like we have 4 anniversaries there. Congratulations, everybody. And assisting off the podium, our greeters, Doug Johnson, and Zoom greeter, Katie Campbell. Front desk is Tom Bach, excuse me. The barker is Ryan Wilson. He was a fill-in at the end. And our photographer, you see her zooming around, is Sutton. So thank you, everybody. Okay, and just a couple more announcements, and then we'll bring Rob up here. There seems to be some confusion on masks, and I just want to make sure everybody's clear on what's needed with the mask. When you enter the Edina Country Club, you need to be having a mask on. We are requesting that you all go to your table right away, and it seems like everybody's doing a really good job of that. Of course, when you're eating, you can't be wearing a mask, but we really would like to request that once you're done eating and drinking, if you could put your mask on, we'd appreciate it for the safety of all of us. And then the last thing I have is, actually a couple more things. We're challenged with our live meetings to finding people to take on duties. So if you can go to our website, you can sign up. On our website, it's high above, upper right hand. Just hit the button and you can sign up for more than one duty. That would be fantastic. And the last thing is I want to thank Bill McReevy. He was our speaker last night at the vocational networking event. And it was a fascinating talk. It was really good. He talked about the funeral business and how it's been affected by COVID. So thanks so much, Bill. That was great. Okay, and with that now I'd like to bring up Rob Breeding to give us the invocation pledge in the 4-way test.
Thanks, Sam. It's my honor to be able to share with you this morning a little bit, or this afternoon, I guess it is now. I'm a kind of this consummate extrovert, and this COVID stuff is really getting to me. And so when I was thinking about invocation, Peter, the Apostle Peter, is the guy that I most identify with when I read the New Testament, and I think Peter was probably an extrovert like me. So I'm going to read just a little bit from 1 Peter, and then we'll pray and do the Pledge of Allegiance. This is from 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. The end of all things is near. This is kind of what Peter was thinking, like I am, with this COVID stuff. Therefore, be alert and sober mind, so that you may pray. Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. Offer hospitality to one another without grumbling. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. If anyone speaks, they should do so as if they're speaking the very words of God. If anyone serves, they should do so with the strength that God provides them, so that in all things God may be praised through Jesus Christ. To him be the glory, the power, forever and ever. Amen. And then the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then the four-way test. Of all the things we say or do, first, will it build goodwill and better friendship, and will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Good afternoon. This week I'm here to introduce guests. And Sam Thompson, you have a guest. I don't know if I'd call John Crudelli a guest, though. He's very familiar to the club. John, you want to stand up? There you are. Welcome, John. And then Wooj. Wooj has 3 guests. Actually, 4 guests.
Stand up. This is Hyosuk Hwang. She is the CEO of a nanotech company in North Oaks, Minnesota. Okay, you two stand up. This is Dr. Kyu-hyun Wang. He is a heart doctor in HCMC and the University of Minnesota. And this is his wife.
Welcome.
This is Jay An. He's an associate at my office. He will become a lawyer very soon.
Welcome.
All right, hi everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Bridget Hallstrom, and I'm excited to be part of the board this year as membership director. And so Sam had asked me to talk a little bit about the membership committee. And so first I'll start with a little update on where we are on numbers. So last year in 2019, we started the year with 179 members. We gained 10, which is great, and we lost 18. So we had a net loss of 8. And this year we started with 171 members, and we lost 1 in July, which brings us to 170 members so far this year, so to date. And many of you might be wondering who's on the committee. So we do have a couple of different areas in membership. The first being a new member interview process. So we've had a couple of members be part of that over the years, and Brad Hepp has been nice enough to continue that. So thank you, Brad. And then also we have the RARE committee, which is headed up by Ann Platt and Scott McDonald. And that is really for our members to go to as a resource. Maybe you have a health concern, perhaps you have some good news to share with the group. Like Dan Hennon had a baby a couple weeks ago, so congratulations to them. And then we also have what's called Helping Hands, which was created by Jean Morrison. And this is a newer initiative that once a year we're going to contact each of our members to see how they're doing, see if we can help them in any way and make sure that their membership is what they want it to be. And so thank you, Jean, for taking that on. We also recently created a leadership development program. Thank you to Rob Breeding for heading that up. And a couple of events that will be in the next couple weeks here. One being the leadership development program we will have on every 3rd Tuesday of the month. And that will be held August 18th via Zoom. And this will be on race and racism and be presented by Gail Britton. She's a consultant, which Sam had mentioned earlier. And then the second event that we have is Perspective Member Day, which is August 27th, and we'll be doing these quarterly, so you can bring your guests in person or over Zoom. This is a really great way to continue to build our membership with people in your network, whether it's personal or professional. So if you're interested in learning more about the membership committee or would like to join, let me know. Otherwise, thanks everyone.
Well, and that'll be a great segue. I want to just elaborate a little bit about on the leadership series that Bridget mentioned. We're kicking that off this year, but it's really a continuation of last year's mentorship/leadership program. And what I wanted to emphasize was that the program is designed to really for four things, which Bridget and what was the gentleman's name that helped you, Bridget, last year? David? David Ozzie, yeah, put together. And the objectives are leadership skill development. They are goal setting and career planning, troubleshooting or being able to solve problems, and then networking. We're trying to do four things. And the idea is that as people come into our club, we want to offer this to them. And so Sam, and they reached out to me earlier this year and said, hey, we'd really like to offer this as a separate thing from mentorship. And so that's what we've done. It's on the third Tuesday of every month. It's an opportunity for not just you to come, but maybe you've got some people that work for you, some younger folks that leadership development is still kind of a new topic for, or just anybody you might know. It's a great way to engage them with our club in a safe way. And with that, I'll just mention, you already mentioned Gail Brighton, this coming third Tuesday, I think it's the 18th, in the evening at 6 p.m., Gail Britton will be coming. She's I've looked at her resume. She's a really, really strong speaker. You've got that there. It's on your tables. You can take those with you and share them with your friends. And I talked to Gail, and she says we're just going to have a conversation about race and racism, and it's just going to be a real conversation. And I'm excited to do that and to get better myself in terms of understanding and empathy. So with that, thank you so much, and I hope to see you the third Tuesday. Thanks.
Okay, and Josh couldn't be here today, but he wanted me to announce the car show, the second annual, will be happening. And we want to thank our sponsors. They make this happen: Key Cadillac, Grandview Tire and Auto, and Lake Sotheby's. And it is Saturday, September 12th, from 12 to 4 in the Southdale parking lot. It's classic, exotic, and vintage cars. It's free to spectators, and there's a fee to register cars, and info would be on the tables, or you can go to our website. So now it's time to introduce Paul Moody, who will be introducing our speaker today. Paul Moody is a born and raised Minnesotan. He received his BSB in business from the Carlson School of Management at the University of Minnesota and his JD from the University of Minnesota Law School. Paul is a partner and serves as vice chairman of Faribault Woolen Mill Company. One of Paul's greatest joys was becoming a member of the Rotary Club of Edina and having the honor to serve as president in 2008-2009. He is currently a member of the Fairview Community Advisory Committee and a board member of Gianni Homes, and previously served on the Edina Community Foundation board. Paul and his wife Jean live in Edina and have 3 children and 3 grandchildren. Please welcome up Paul.
Thank you, Sam. Well, it's my honor today to introduce my friend Wooj. Wooj provided a bio which I'll now share, and then I'd like to share some of my own thoughts. Wooj Byun is a Minnesota-based attorney, community leader, and Rotarian. He studied law both in Korea and United States. Since he graduated from the University of Minnesota Law School in 1993, he's practiced law in Minnesota. Wooj was born in Korea, and he has lived and worked in Seoul, Hong Kong, and Minneapolis. He served as advisor to the President of South Korea on the subject of reunification of the 2 Koreas. He also served the President of the University of Minnesota as the chair of the Asian Advisory Committee. When he was the chairperson of the Asian Pacific Cultural Center during the Jesse Ventura administration, Wooj successfully raised over $1 million by working with then Senator Paul Wellstone. Wooj served as president of the Minnesota Korean Association in 2000-2001, and since 2012 he served as a board member of the Weissman Art Museum at the University of Minnesota for 2 terms, which is 6 years. Wooj received an award from the mayor of Edina, Jim Hovland, in 2008 for his outstanding community service. Wooj received a Rotary International Ambassadorial Scholarship in 1990, which was instrumental in his ability to realize his dream of becoming an international lawyer and a global citizen. He joined the Rotary Club of Edina mainly to pay back his scholarship he received from Rotary International. He served as president of the Rotary Club of Edina from 2011 to 2012. He's a multiple Paul Harris Fellow. He's also served as the District 5950's legal counsel from 2014 to 16. He lives in Edina with his wife, Jennifer Park, who's also became a Paul Harris Fellow, and also their 2 daughters. He's been a dynamic speaker on the subject of service above self. And since the publication of his book in 2014 entitled My Rotary Journey, he has been invited to Rotary conventions including Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, and finally Rotary International Convention in Seoul in 2016. You know, to say that Wooj has an impressive resume is a grand understatement. And before he comes up, I want to just share some personal thoughts about Wooj. Wooj is a Rotarian to the core, and he personifies Rotary's motto of service above self. And to know the guy is to love the guy. He's kind, he's caring, and truly lives a life of service. In my 20 years in Rotary, there have been many great Rotary stories. The Moses Miracle is one story I'll never forget. And the other story is Wooj's efforts to bring Hia Lee, the 4-fingered pianist from Korea, to inspire a little boy in Minnesota who Wooj met and was born with the same affliction. Wooj's dedication, care, and commitment to make that happen is one of the most inspiring things I've witnessed. I've learned a lot from Wooj and admire him and will continue to do both. With that, please welcome Wooj.
Thank you, Paul. This is my great honor to be standing in front of you. My 2 daughters and their friends often tell me this is the worst moment of my life. I understand them, but I do not necessarily agree with them. They're way too young to define that yet. But we certainly live a very difficult or weird kind of time. Let's see how weird this is. Do you see the difference? Kite, drone. We used to save people drowning, not anymore. Some of you, maybe. What does labor mean now, right? One phone was good enough, right? Now there are way too many phones. People read newspaper, not anymore. Mothers were welcomed by their children, not anymore. Hairstyle, we can combine the 2. Tattoos, right? Mothers want their kids to play now. And TV became slimmer, not your body. All right. I'll be talking about my Rotary journey. And I'll try to make it as interesting as possible for you. And I'll try to share a trick with you how to turn this year into the best year of your life. It's based on my book. Some of you may have it. If you don't have it, on my way out, I'll give you a copy to you. All you have to do is just to make a promise to make a $20 donation to Rotary Foundation, which will be used for future students' scholarship. That is the primary reason why I wrote this book. Now, as far as I'm concerned, 2008 was the scariest year. Many of you will remember there was a stock market crash, and I lost something like 50% of my assets overnight. And companies began to lay off employees. Even nonprofit organizations, including Rotary, began to lose members. I remember Rotary worldwide lost about 10%, and Edina Rotary lost about 5% of membership. I happened to be the secretary of our club back then, and I wanted to stop the young folks from quitting Rotary. I didn't know what to tell them until I saw this movie. It is a movie called The Best Years of Our Lives. It's a black and white movie made in 1946. I thought it was weird for anybody to find the 1946 the best year for anybody. I mean, how could this be the best year? So I watched it out of curiosity. If I give you a quick summary of the movie, there was an American soldier from Midwest, let's call it from Minnesota. He went to the Pacific Ocean to fight the Japanese Navy. During the fight, he lost both arms. And he came back, he became a hermit. He lost all hope in life, all meaning in life, he became a hermit. But gradually, he began to learn his life, how to live his life, and ultimately, he created a lot of hope for other people. So therefore, everybody in the movie called it the best year of their lives. And I agreed with them. Back then, there was no computer graphics available, so they couldn't find this actor in America. So they found the actor in Canada. His name is Harold Russell. He lost both arms in real life. So for him, this was not acting, this was his real life he portrayed. And he portrayed very well. Because of the physical handicap, he could appear in only 4 movies in his entire life. But with this movie alone, he won 2 Oscars. One was Best Supporting Actor. The other one was a special Oscar ever created for somebody for creating hope for other people. So my message to young folks who wanted to quit Rotary or other non-profit organizations was that stay with your organization just 1 more year. Your financial situation may not change, but you may change. And if you change, your whole world will change. Look at these fathers and grandfathers of ours who had the courage to call 1946 the best year. Maybe this year is not so bad. 1946 was a special year for another man. His name was Viktor Frankl. He was an Austrian psychiatrist. He didn't do anything wrong, but because of his Jewish background, he was sent to a concentration camp. So in the concentration camp, he discovered something extraordinary. It wasn't the sickest, it wasn't the oldest, it was usually the youngest or the healthiest who died first. So as a psychiatrist, he decided to get to the bottom of this matter. So what he discovered was, young folks used to enjoy unlimited amount of freedom outside the camp. As soon as they were inside the camp, they lost not only the freedom, but the hope in life, meaning in life. And their organs all of a sudden began to shut down. So they just died. Whereas older folks and sicker folks, they still had a meaning in life with which they hang on to their lives. So one old man said, I'm not going to die until I know what happened to my wife or my children. Another man said, if there is a God, if there is justice, why should I die before that German prison guard dies? And Viktor Frankl, of course, said, I'm going to share this observation with the rest of the world. Otherwise, I'm not going to die. So he began to write this book in his jail uniform, and he published it in 1946, and it became an international bestseller. It's still selling today. You can order it from Amazon. So during the worst time in mankind's history, the best book was created. And something interesting in the book is this. He thought the same amount of pain was given to the same people in the same room. But the older folks didn't feel much pain. How did they do it? They shared the last piece of bread with the young folks. They shared their last piece of painkiller or the medicine with younger folks. So by giving what was most important to them, they decided not to feel the pain anymore. But the younger folks who kept taking the bread and medicine and painkillers, they died. So that's a very interesting phenomenon he discovered. That was 1946. 1946 was another interesting year for another group of people. These are Rotarians. These are the group of people in Chicago. They call themselves Rotarians. If you think about it, these are the folks who also lost their family members, their office, factory, school, hospital, church, you name it, right? But they had the courage to ask the most fundamental question. Why did we fight? Is there any way we can restore international understanding, world peace? They found the answer in creating a scholarship. So what little money they could scrape, they created this scholarship and called it Rotary International Ambassadorial Scholarship. It was very humble at the beginning. They chose only 10 scholars, and they were sent the next year. But the next 6 decades saw this scholarship to become the largest scholarship fund in the world, benefiting over 40,000 scholars from 120 different countries. So that decision was also made in 1946. So if our fathers, grandfathers were that wise to call 1946 the best year of their lives, maybe this is not such a bad year. My name is Wooj. I came from South Korea with this scholarship. I'm one of these humble 40,000 beneficiaries. Without the scholarship, I wouldn't be standing here. I arrived here on August 15th, 1990. My roommate, American guy, took me out to a nice restaurant. After a few days, I arrived here. We had a nice dinner in downtown Minneapolis, and we stepped outside the restaurant. It suddenly began to rain, and my American roommate, looking at the sky, said, "Shit." And I assumed it was Minnesota's slang word for rain. So every time it rained, I said, "Oh shit," and people understood me perfectly. Then one day, my American roommate said, "Hey, Wooj, I think this is bullshit." I quickly looked outside to make sure it was heavy rain or shower. It was a sunny day. So I looked up the dictionary and I got to the bottom of shit, horseshit, bullshit, shithead, anything shit, right? And from that day on, I stopped using "oh shit" expression. I don't know how it happened, but somehow the law school or the bar exam never tested me on swear words, things like that, and I was lucky enough to pass all the exams and I became a lawyer. And one day I was sitting in my office and I began to think, you know, I came from a very humble family, humble country. Now I'm making money, I'm saving money. Maybe I should pay back maybe a tiny bit of that scholarship. So I called up Rotary International headquarters in Chicago, and I said, you know, if not the entire amount, I want to pay just a tiny bit of it. Then the guy who answered my phone call said, "Are you nuts? I mean, you know, why bother to pay back? I mean, you know, are you a lawyer? I mean, you know, why do you pay back? You know, but if you have the burning desire to pay back, I have a better idea. Why don't you join Rotary? And as a Rotarian, you can pay forward." I thought it was a great idea. So that's why I decided to join Rotary Club. And that's how I started my Rotary journey. Since I joined Rotary, and even after joining Rotary, you know, I was a lawyer. So usually my service came from my brain, and I will provide the service, and I will always send a bill to my clients. If they don't pay me, I'll get pissed off, and you know, I'll go after my clients until I get paid. But then I realized, after associating with hundreds of good people sitting right here, I realized that there is another type of service, and it's called service above self. And it took a long time, to be honest with you, for me to realize the difference. So I concluded, after watching so many good people providing service above self, these folks are not providing that service from their brain. The service originates from their heart. Heart doesn't calculate. Heart just feels the pain of the people they serve. After providing service from the heart, they forget about it. So after realizing that difference, I began to enjoy Rotary. Up until that time, I probably may have been the only non-Scandinavian guy in this room, and it was kind of strange to be here. And I was a lawyer, you know, I was after money. But after realizing that there's another type of service coming from your heart, I began to enjoy Rotary. It was the year 2007. I went to a summer camp in Minnehaha Academy in Minneapolis. It was designed for Korean adoptees in Minnesota. There was a program whereby about 20 kids, about 5 or 6 years old, they were supposed to hold each other's hand, dance around and sing. There was a music going on, and there were about 1,000 parents watching the whole thing. The circle didn't form because there was a boy who didn't have hands. He had short arms, and there was a tiny finger on both of his arms. So the kids next to him refused to hold his hand because there was no hand. So all of a sudden, the program stopped, and the boy somehow thought, "Oh gee, this is my fault." So saddened, he turned around and rushed to his mother, who was not too far from me. Now, I became a Rotarian, right? So I thought, I feel the pain of that boy in my heart. It is not a brain issue. It's my heart. My heart is aching. There has to be something done for this boy to restore his dignity and his self-esteem. So I began to think, as a Rotarian, how I can help this boy. And one day I saw this video clip on YouTube where there was a pianist who had only 2 fingers on each hand. She was playing Chopin's Fantasy Impromptu without any difficulty. And all of a sudden, I developed a crazy thought. I slapped my knee and I thought to myself, why don't I bring this pianist over here? And if I hold a concert for the boy, because of the similar condition they have, the boy might be able to restore some of his lost dignity and self-esteem. So I used all my connections to locate the pianist, and I ended up talking with her. She happened to be in South Korea. And I said, hey, Miss Pianist, I have a boy who has your physical condition in Minnesota. Would you be willing to come to Minnesota and have a concert for this boy? She said, I'll be honored to. Please invite me. It was one of the happiest days in my life. So I reserved the theater. I began to promote this event, only to realize that I needed a lot of money. I needed money because the pianist was born without legs, which meant that she had to bring her mother, and also a manager whose job is to carry her around. So I needed 3 people to come here, and I needed 2 hotel rooms, etc., etc. I needed $15,000 within 1 month, as it was like a baptism by fire. I didn't know where to turn to. So I spoke about it with Paul Moody, the president of our club back then. He said, Wooj, I can give you 5 minutes. Why don't you present it to our club and see what happens? Which I did. At the end of my 5-minute presentation, 2 Rotarians came over to me, Ted Yak and Joel Jennings. They each wrote $1,000 right there and gave me. And they said, Wooj, this is a marvelous project. You should go ahead. And if you need more money, come back to us. I didn't have to go back to them. I have a lot of other people here who helped me. So within 30 days, I raised over $15,000. And we had a big concert. The boy came, as well as many other people. As I think it was like over 600 people, many disabled came, and they were very inspired because of the pianist. This picture was taken after the concert. I asked the boy to come onto the stage, and if you look carefully, you can see the beautiful 2 fingers of the pianist and 1 finger of the boy. And I never saw such a beautiful 2 people in my entire life. It was a very good moment in my life, and it was well covered by local media as well. I invited her while she was here to our Rotary Club. And Paul and our board members were gracious enough to turn her into our program. And that is recorded very well. So I brought a summary of that program, and I want you to watch it.
Sometimes you can hear beauty before you see it. Such is the case with Hia Lee. To hear Hia is to marvel, but to see her is to simply wonder. How? Hia was born in South Korea with multiple birth defects, no legs beyond her knees, and just 4 fingers, 2 on each hand. She began playing piano at age 6 for physical therapy, hoping someday to hold a pencil or spoon. Let's just say the instrument agreed with her.
저는 장애가 있다고 해서
From when I was very young, I never thought I was any different from other people. To this date, I thank God to give me such a beautiful talent in me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hia Lee.
Thank you so much.
23 years old, just 3 feet tall.
Thank you.
Hia's stature as a pianist is now recognized round the world. This Edina Rotary Club helped pay for her first visit to Minnesota, where several concerts are planned for both the able-bodied and the disabled.
나도 할 수 있다 하는 마음을
I want disabled people to feel that they can do as well. And also they shouldn't lament what they don't have, but celebrate what they have already.
Thank you.
10 hours a day, Dia devotes to practice. She's missing 6 fingers, yet calls herself blessed. Makes it harder to look at one's own life and think anything less.
Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you.
The simultaneous interpretation was done by me. You may have noticed that there was a CNN on the bottom, which actually means something. Carry 11 covered it, but then they sold it to CNN, and CNN still carries it. So because of the power of CNN and also social network, the pianist became very popular worldwide after this event. In fact, the year after, 2009, I received a phone call from the government of the Netherlands. They thought I was the pianist's agent. So they asked me to send her to the Netherlands for their International Human Rights Day. I said, I'm not her agent. I wish I was, but I still have power over her. So I asked her to go there, and she had another concert in the Netherlands, and she received an award from the Dutch government. She became a goodwill ambassador after that. What happened to the boy? His name is Michael. He lives in South Minneapolis. We became good friends. His parents told me after the concert, he began to play guitar with 1 finger. He began to type his computer with 10 toes. He became a high school kid now. And earlier this year, in February, he represented the United States team in Paralympic ski championship in Germany. We had a big fundraising for him. I noticed there are hundreds of friends, relatives, neighbors who all feel the pain of this boy and the family. So we raised money to send the family to Germany. His life seems to be going very well at this point. So I wanted to pay back the scholarship I received, and I began to enjoy Rotary. So I showed up more than anybody else. I showed up every week on sunny day, snowy day, even shitty day, and all of a sudden, the leaders of this club thought this guy is either addicted to Rotary or maybe he has something to share with us. So after realizing the true reason I had to join Rotary, they asked me to become the president of this club. So arguably, I may have become the first non-Scandinavian president of this club. In year 2011, Rotary International Convention took place in New Orleans. So you basically sent me to the convention right before I became the president. I had a chance to briefly meet with Bill Gates. He was the plenary sessions speaker, and I was really impressed. He said something like, when it comes to fighting mankind's biggest problems, he cannot think of any better partner than Rotary. He said that he feels the pain of the African kids who are dying of polio. So during the speech, he pledged $550 million to match $2 billion raised by people like you in this room. So the two parties' collaboration made India polio free the year after. So I saw the power of anybody feeling the pain of the person or people they serve, then a miracle could easily happen. On my way back from convention to Minneapolis, I began to think. I started my journey because I received $23,000 in 1990 as a scholarship, and I wanted to pay back just a tiny fraction of it, and I wanted to get over with Rotary. I didn't want to stay too long. That was my primary reason why I joined Rotary. But then I began to think, I came too far. I became the president of this club, and I came to International Convention, and all that, and I met Bill Gates, and so I thought, what if Rotary didn't invest $23,000 in me? What if they gave the money to Bill Gates, or invest in Microsoft, or Google, or Netflix, Amazon, you name it. It's easily $2 million 20 years later, right? So on my first day here at Edina Rotary, right here, right? I declared, as a lawyer, I'm trained not to pay back or pay as little as possible. But, I became a Rotarian. I began to enjoy Rotary, and, you sent me to international convention and all that, So on the flight here, I realized I should be a return of $2 million. I refuse to be only a return of $23,000. 21 years passed, I should be a better return to you. So I declared to you and to my wife, I carry 2 mortgages. One is based on my house, another one is based on my scholarship. My wife said, I didn't do anything wrong, Why should I be stuck with you? I said, too bad you're married to a Rotarian who used to receive, who happened to receive scholarship. Anyway, so that is what's going on in my life right now. I used the word pain several times earlier. I saw this in another example Paul mentioned earlier. This is Sandy Schley, who is a member of our club. She was a president and district governor one time. We sent her to Africa several times with $500,000 for a clean water project in Kenya. And on one trip, she bumped into this boy who had crossed eyes, and his face was covered with African flies sucking his blood, and he had no shoes and whatnot. As soon as she came back, she shared that painful encounter with this boy. She said, what's the point of bringing millions of dollars to Africa if I cannot change a young boy's life? Immediately, 12 Rotarians kicked in. Chuck Bearer said, I will fix his crossed eyes. Bring him over here. Rotarian Wandera in Eden Prairie said, I will fix his teeth. Tom Buck said, I will pledge 2 tickets to and from Africa. Mike Callas said, I will provide a legal service. And then Tim Murphy, our hero, raised his hand when nobody wanted to go to Africa to bring the boy. So he went to Africa, he located the boy, he brought over here. His name happened to be Moses, so we call it Moses' miracle. And as soon as he came here, we fixed Moses from top to bottom. And the rest of the Edina Rotarians were so impressed by what was happening, they held their own fundraising, spearheaded by Paul Moody here. And to my understanding, over $30,000 were raised. And Moses' future is secured up to PhD degree in the future. I think he's in high school right now. So, how did it happen? That's because Sandy Schley felt the pain of the boy and the boy's family when she saw the boy in Africa. So, once you let your heart feel the pain of the person you serve, there is a big miracle waiting to happen. This transformation of a pain turning into love for humanity, which triggers service above self, can be compared to an oyster painfully developing a beautiful pearl in its soft flesh. We are in that line of business. That is why even Bill Gates calls Rotary the best partner when it comes to fighting mankind's biggest problems. So, what is service? I will have to provide it for the rest of my life. So, service for me means mortgage. A lot of people said it is an obligation, duty, privilege. Many Rotarians told me it is just a way of life. It became their second nature. Apparently, the founding father of Marriott Hotel once said, service is the rent we pay for living in this world. I thought that was a beautiful definition too. I've been trying to tell you that by adopting and practice service above self, you can turn this year into the best year of your life. But if what I told you is not enough, I still have a backdoor weapon for you. Try to practice this. You can improve your life a great deal. People are often unreasonable, irrational, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you're kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you're successful, you will win some friends, but some genuine enemies. Succeed anyway. If you're honest, people may deceive you. Be honest anyway. If you find happiness, some may become jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today will be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give your best. It still may not be enough. Give your best anyway. Of all the definitions of love, I like the one by Saint-Exupéry, the French author who wrote Little Prince. He said, love perhaps means my gently leading you back to yourself. I met hundreds of good people in Minnesota. I met hundreds of good Rotarians who reminded me who I am, what kind of potential I have, what kind of potential we together have. As long as all you carry a beautiful pearl in your heart, the world will shine. And you can help a lot of people in turning this year into the best year of their lives. We are in that line of business. You have been the best audience I've ever had. I want to thank you very much.
It is an honor to thank one of my favorite people in Rotary, Wooj. And from literacy and peace to water and health, Rotary is a global network of 1.2 million problem solvers who unite to take action to create lasting change to better our world. Nobody exemplifies international service better than you, Wooj. In honor of your presentation, we will make a donation to the Sheridan Story, an organization focused on providing weekend and other food gap programs to over 10,000 children in the Twin Cities metropolitan area. Okay.
On your way out, please pick up a copy of my book.
Books on the way out. Okay, we have a couple minutes here looking ahead. On August 13th, Rotaract will have their picnic. Leadership, as we talked about earlier, race and racism, is on August 18th. The 27th, as Bridget talked about, Prospective Member Day. I want to thank all of you that are here live and on Zoom, and especially Wooj. Great message. And I want to leave you with a quote. The whole purpose of education is to turn mirrors into windows. From Sidney J. Harris. Meeting adjourned.